What's up, y'all? Today I wanted to share and talk about the upcoming UFC 304 pay-per-view, Manchester Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. Super excited for this fight, guys. This is going to be a banger. I know a lot of people are quite underwhelmed that it's Bilal Muhammad, Mr. Decision King. Remember the decision versus Leon Scissor Hands Edwards, according to Kobe Covington. Um, yeah, super excited for this fight. Um, think it's going to be a banger from top to bottom, right? Like a lot of the fights that we've been seeing recently have been quite underwhelming, especially those past two fight nights. I feel like they stack the fight nights with very, very weak cards so we can get the pay per views to have really, really stacked cards. So they save all the good guys with the name value for the pay per view. So super excited. This is one of those that's going to be really, really good. Actually, next week is going to be great too, with Umar and Corey Sandhagen. So that one's going to be a banger too. So I'm just appreciating these weeks where it's a really, really good fight card. So, anyways, just wanted to share some of my picks. If you guys agree, disagree, think some of my picks are shit, think they're great, like, comment, subscribe, let me know for interaction. It helps the algorithm, especially new guys like me starting out. For the first fight, I want to go through Shauna Bannon versus Alice Ardelane. Ardelane is 9-5. This is her first fight in the UFC, taking on short notice. Her last fight was an opponent that was 0-3. And if you look at her opponents up until now, they've all had losing records. So Ardelane is probably not a safe bet. I'm not a betting man. I don't get into that stuff. But if you are going to bet money, Bannon is a sure pick. She'll win by decision. She typically wins by decision. I think it's an easy layup fight for her. The fight is in Europe right now. She's from Ireland. I think it's an easy layup. Everybody knows that. A lot of Irish fans go to fights in the UK. So I think it's going to be an easy fight. It's nothing really to talk about. It's Bannon by decision. Moving along, Mick Parkin versus Lucas Bresky. I think Parkin's going to easily win this one. Again, it's an easy layup. I think whenever the UFC has events in countries that they normally don't go to, maybe they go once a year, like in Paris, the UAE, they give them the fighters that are from there favorable matchups where they'll look good, they'll have an easy knockout. So I think this is no different. Parkin, his last fight was against Muhammad Usman. Yeah, his last fight, Usman, he looked absolutely awful. And everybody that Parkin fights as of right now, because of the level that he's at, he's going to just fight fat, light heavyweights that don't want to cut down. So they're essentially heavyweights, right? But they're really 205ers that just don't want to cut the weight and then don't have the skill. And everybody knows that heavyweight fighters have zero skill. And if they had real skill, they would be in the NFL or doing something that they'd make more money in, but they're not real athletes. So, but yeah, Parkin's going to win. He trains with Aspinall. Like I said, I think at his skill level and where he's at in the rankings, I mean, I know he's not top 15, but let's just say maybe top 25. He's going to fight these matchups where he's a lot more skillful than the other his opponents, and I think he's going to easily just win. He has good kicks. He's just good everywhere. But yeah, it's a pretty boring fight, but I think Parkin's going to stay undefeated. Moving along, Sam Peterson versus Kiefer Crosby. I think it's going to be an easy, safe bet that Peterson's going to win. Patterson. Patterson's going to win just because of the fact that he's a grappler primarily, and Crosby's not. Crosby's shit. Shouldn't even be in the UFC. And Patterson is coming up from lightweight. He's 6'3". It was fighting at lightweight, and he got chinned his last fight. I think he's going to look like a new man. He's going to feel like a new man at the at the weight class. I think this is going to be a favorable matchup for him. And again, he's from the UK, so this is a favorable matchup. They know Crosby's not a grappler, so they're gonna give him someone that is Patterson. He's gonna have an easy time, and he's probably gonna submit him in the first round. Honestly, because Crosby's just shit. So should he be in the UFC? Probably even Bellator. So yeah, and he was on the sauce originally. Like if you look up his old fights when how he got to the UFC, he looked like he was on the sauce. But whatever. Next fight, Muhammad Mokaev, and Manel Cap. I think it's a safe bet that Manel Cap's gonna win. Muhammad Mokaev looks lost on the feet totally, and he pulls out a Hail Mary his last few fights and manages to win, but looks like shit up until the fifth round or third round, I should say. So I think this is a easy fight for Cap. I think that he's been training with Dagestani wrestlers, and which is coincidental that Makayev is born from in Dagestan. So I think Cap's going to be ready for whatever Makayev brings, and Cap has been everywhere. He's fought in multiple organizations. He was a champion Ryzen in Japan. So I think he's going to do just fine, and he's going to be comfortable, and he's going to bully Makayev. Cap is 31. Makayev's 23, so I think he's going to implement his grown man strength as well, because that is a real thing. And he's not – Makayev has nothing for him, honestly. It's going to be an easy fight. So not really worried for Cap. And then I think Cap should call for a title shot. This has title contention it's all over it. So, I mean, it's crazy that this is on the early prelims. But supposedly Makayev is on his last fight on his contract, which explains why they didn't give him Steve Ercik. Or, sorry, why they didn't give him Pantoja for his last fight. Because he probably was deserving of a title shot. I mean, even though fans have been underwhelmed with his fighting style, I think that from a rankings perspective, it made sense. And even from a perspective of where he's from, like that Dagestani treatment that a lot of fighters get, like Umar, where he's just getting a number one contender spot after fighting nobody in the top 15. I think, Makayev, he's been really, really doing his thing as far as getting those wins, taking care of whatever opposition was in front of him, and just decisioning every win. But I don't think that he should have necessarily got a shot. But anyways, that's besides the point. Ercik got the title shot because Muhammad Mokayev was on his last fight on his contract. So they didn't want to give him a title shot. He win, and then he asked for a bunch of money, and then they have to abide because Francis Ngannou was like, hey, give me a bunch of money or else I'm going to leave. And then Makayev could have did the same thing. So they're giving him another test, and then they're putting him on the early prelims so he can get no leverage in contract discussions in the future. So, yeah, it's messed up, but what are you going to do? And then on top of that, Cap probably wasn't going to make weight, right? Like, that's probably what they were thinking. Like, we don't want to ruin a pay-per-view and then shift everything last minute because Cap missed weight. But I think it's more so about the Makayev thing, because if you think about the UFC, I think it was 297 or Derek Lewis, he was on one of these pay-per-views, and he was on the prelims, and then someone got out of it last minute, and then he ended up getting moved to the pay-per-view, but he was on his last fight as well. So, and then they renegotiated, and he ended up getting a new contract, obviously. So I think it's no different. I think that, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I think Cap's going to easily win, and then Mokayev's going to stay in the UFC, and they're going to renegotiate, and he's probably not going to get as much money because he loses, and he's boring, and nobody cares about his fighting style. Anyways, so Cap, I think he's going to win by decision. So, yeah. Next fight, Oban, Elliott, and Preston Parsons. I think Parsons going to manhandle him. I think unfortunately, Elliott is from the area, but I don't think he's going to win just based on the size differential. And I think Parsons is just going to bully him. It's as simple as that. And Parsons has fought better competition up until now. And he's just younger, so I think Parsons is going to take it. Hopefully Elliott wins though. I hope I'm wrong because I mean he's gonna be in front of his home crowd, right? So all right, moving along. Modestas Bukaskis and Marcin Perchino. Perchino fought William Knight, and William Knight literally did nothing that fight. Like, if you haven't seen that fight, Perchino did nothing. Like, he leg kicked him. William Knight didn't throw a single punch the entire fight. I shit you not. And it was almost as if, since it was his last fight on his contract, it was almost as if he bet on himself to lose. And he just let Perchino just come forward and walk him down. And he did absolutely nothing that entire fight. Perchino did not finish him. It was an absolute abomination if you're a UFC fan. And I'm never betting on Perchino. So, yeah, Perchino is shit. I mean, he has a win over Roundtree, but which is funny because Bukaskis, he actually lost to Roundtree. But, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Bukaskis because, yeah, Perchino is shit. I'm never going for that guy. That guy is absolute dog shit. So, yeah, no. Yeah, Bukaskis by decision. All right, we got Jake Hadley versus Callan Lugren. I'm going with the Irishman just because of the fact that this is his weight class. He has more power. I think Hadley is coming up from flyweight, and he didn't even make weight. So it sucks because he took this fight on short notice. He's already undersized for flyweight. So then he's taking this fight short notice, I think, 2 weeks? And then he forfeited his 20% of his purse because of the fact that he missed weight. And Callan is just a good guy. Like, he's really good. He has power, and he's gonna just bully Hadley. So I think it's gonna just be an easy win for Lugren, and he's from Ireland. Like, I think it sucks for Hadley. You should not have taken this fight in front of his hometown too. Like, one of his managers or his coaches probably should have talked him down from fighting this fight, but I mean, whatever. What are you gonna do? But yeah, Callan's probably gonna whoop. Probably second round knockout, honestly. All right, next one: Molly McCann, Bruna Brazil. I'm not too familiar with Brazil, but I think Molly McCann's gonna easily win. I think that she's been working on her grappling. I remember seeing her in a grappling event a few months ago, and then in her last fight, she ended up submitting someone with the armbar, and which she got submitted with that in her last loss. So, I think moving down to this new weight class is great for her, and she's gonna just bully all of these straw weights for sure. It's gonna be easy. It's an easy win. Brazil. I don't believe she's gonna pose any threats to her, but we'll see. But I really think that McCann is gonna have an easy fight. They're going to just put on a show, and she's going to have a great post-press conference on the mic interview. It's going to be great. So, super, super big fan of McCann, actually. I don't know why she gets a lot of hate. I don't know what that's about at all. Maybe because she's aligned with Patty, and she talks a big game. But I like what she does for the sport. I think she's fun. She's one of the few women that actually have knockouts in their highlight reel. I'm a huge fan, so I'm going for McCann. Let's go decision. But I hope it's a knockout, but let's just go decision. All right, let's go to the next fight. Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. Pineda is shit. He's 28-15. Yeah, Wood is good. He's always been pretty solid. I feel like he's just had a string of bad luck, but yeah, Wood's good. I got Wood, man. Wood by decision. That's an easy fight. I don't really. I mean, he's a good prospect, but I'm not really excited for that fight because I think he's gonna just walk through him. But we'll see how it goes. Next fight, the pay-per-view card: Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. I think I got Arnold Allen in this one. Just more diverse as far as from a skill set perspective. I think Giga was really, really good at one time, maybe 3 years ago, but up until that Calvin Kattar fight, he just got exposed and walked down the entire time. And he just got busted up, and I feel like all his aura was just dissipated ultimately, and he just doesn't fight either. And does he even have takedown defense? No, I don't think so. And when he's one of those guys, whenever he gets taken down, he's on the ground. He just sits there, lays there, and prays for the round to end, and then so he could get up, and then he's gonna be able to. Oh, it starts back on the feet, so I'm gonna be able to get my Giga kick in. I don't think that's what the new MMA is all about. The new MMA meta is Arnold Allen, like those guys that can do everything: wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, boxing, judo. Like Arnold Allen has it all, and he has a great coach, Faraz Zahabi. So you already know Faraz Zahabi, that TriStar Gym, is going to be game planning, the X's and O's, doing math with how they're going to beat Giga. But I mean, it's going to be an easy fight for Allen. I mean, his last fight was Evloev, which he arguably won, or he barely lost, and then Max Holloway. There's no shame in taking those two losses. So I mean, yeah, Max Holloway obviously is probably one of the goats of that division. So Allen, this is an easy fight for him. This is an easy win for him, honestly. But I think he's going to game plan and just Faraz Zahabi's probably going to have him just wrestle, fuck him, ground and pound, have him quit. Like Giga will quit. You know, he's just super rusty, and he just does not fight enough, and he's almost 36. So I'm not a believer in Giga anymore, unfortunately. I mean, I was a huge fan. He's a cool guy, has cool style and all that, and I like his fighting style as well. I mean, kickboxer, right? But he just doesn't fight enough, and he's getting old. And unfortunately, Arnold Allen is of the new guard that has a skill diversity, right? So I think Allen's going to easily win this one. It'll just be another great win for another Brit. That's all it is. Next fight, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez. I think RoboCop's going to get this one done. Duncan is really, really good on the feet, and Rodriguez is really good on the feet, and I think it could potentially be a war of attrition stand-up wise, but I do believe that Rodriguez is going to take the path of least resistance, and he's going to just take Duncan down. And he's a world champion in jiu-jitsu, so I think that he's just going to get an easy win. And I've never seen Duncan on the ground. I don't imagine that he's good on the ground. I think he's just primarily a stand-up guy. And he just hasn't fought anybody, honestly. Who has he fought where it has his full skills are on display? There's just a lot of unknowns with Duncan. And I just don't believe that he has all the tools, and his strength of schedule has been comparable to Rodriguez. So I'm not going to go with him. I think it's going to be a fun fight if it's stand-up, though, but I don't believe that it's going to be a stand-up. I think Rodriguez is going to just take him to the ground and just probably submit him. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe Duncan can prove me wrong. But this is one of those fights that is kind of tricky because we still don't know about Duncan. So we'll see. Moving on to the next one, Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. This is a tough one. King Green, Bobby Green, is obviously the person with more skill and more strength of schedule. But that Jalen Turner UFC 300 fight, or no, not UFC 300, whatever the Jalen Turner, whatever that card was on, that was tough to watch, right? As far as that ending sequence, like that, the ref just wanted Green to die, and that was crazy. So I feel like whenever he fought Jim Miller, his chin was gone. Like he got dropped from like a jab from Miller. So not to say that Paddy is really, really good on the feet or has power whatsoever. I don't think so. And whenever he comes in, he comes in this running blitz, and then he'll have his chin all up in the air as he's throwing. I just don't imagine that he's going to be anything that Bobby should fear. And then from a grappling perspective, Patty has some nasty, nasty groundwork, but his wrestling and takedowns aren't anything that Bobby hasn't seen, right? Like Bobby grew up wrestling, and he has good takedown defense. He's gonna get ready. He already has his hands low, so he's gonna be ready for whatever Patty tries to shoot at him. So I think he's not really worried about that. But on the feet, I could just see Patty catching him, like potentially going down for a shot, and then just going up top with a right overhand, and then just putting Bobby to sleep. I don't know why I feel that. And then Patty's gonna have like this aura going into that fight, and it's gonna feel like a main event, honestly. So I don't know. Bobby could be over the hill. I'm going with Bobby Green, but I could see in this strange time warp loop dimension that Pimlet wins for some reason. But I don't know. I'm going to go with Green, but I'm not confident on that. But I'm super excited for this fight because Pimlet's actually going to fight somebody, right? Jared Gordon, didn't he fight Green? Tony Ferguson. Didn't Tony Ferguson? Patty looked better than Green did against Ferguson. I don't know. We'll see. I think Green got it, though. I think Green got it. Because I count him out against Jim Miller as well. But Jim Miller's so old. And Jim Miller dropped him with a straight. So I don't... Yeah. I think Bobby Green got it. But this is a tough one. I can see Patty winning, honestly. This is one of those that I would probably stay away from if I was a betting man. Okay, yeah. Going with Green by decision. Yeah. Yeah, that's a safe bet. Okay. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. I think Aspinall is easily going to get this one. Blades has a tendency, whenever he fights the upper echelon of the division, he always loses. He's going to try to outstrike Aspinall for some reason. He always does this. Like, whenever he fought Derek Lewis, he tried to outstrike Lewis. I mean, I'm just not convinced that Blades is going to fight intelligently in this fight. He should try to wrestle fuck Aspinall, but I know he's not. And Aspinall, one thing that I don't really know about him, nobody knows. We've never seen him off his back. We've never seen him defend takedowns or on the ground even, right? Like really, really face adversity because he's just been able to run through everybody so far in his UFC tenure. So it's I'm super excited to see how Aspinall does, and I'm just excited to see him fight because he just never fights because the division is holed up over the steroid cheat John Jones. So we'll see what happens, but I think Aspinall is going to run through him, honestly, probably first round like he does the rest of these guys. But it'll be a good test for him, so we'll see. But, yeah, it's going to be an easy win for Aspinall because Blaze just does not fight smart. But, yeah, so I got Aspinall in one. Okay, for the main event, Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I think Belal got it. I think Leon, he's going to easily win this fight. If you saw that first fight, how he was piecing up Belal had nothing for him. And I think from like a psychological perspective, so the second fight against Usman in Salt Lake City, first round, took Usman down, won the round, and then he was fading, obviously, because of elevation, right? I think because of the fact that he was able to get that win, it helped his confidence a bunch. And then that second fight, did it at home, ended up winning easily against Usman. Some people say that Usman won 3-2. That's crazy. But I think his confidence is sky high. And I think in my opinion, I think he dominated against Usman that second fight. And then against Colby, I think he just didn't want to get knocked out or taken down or given rounds up. So he was fighting very, very tactically. But I think that because of the fact that Belal has pressure, Leon has seen that already against Colby, but the skills that Belal possesses isn't comparable to anything that he hasn't seen, right? I think that he's going to be super, super light on his feet. I think he's going to be able to, Leon, that is, he's going to be coming in and out. He's a master of distance. He's really, really going to piece up Bilal like how he did in the first fight. I do believe that being that he's trained for wrestlers, he trained for Woodley, Hamzat, Usman, Colby, and now this fight. And then Nate Diaz in between that, the Hamzat and the Usman. I think he's had so many fight camps against wrestlers that he's going to be comfortable. If anything, his anti-wrestling is better than Bilal's wrestling. And I think being able to... The only thing that Bilal's going to have to do is pressure, shoot, fake shoot, go up top, shoot, and just overwhelm Leon and put him against the fence. But Leon has some of the best fence wrestling, anti-wrestling in the UFC. Just get him against the fence. Leon will easily just grab the whizzer, put his head down, and then circle out, or grab wrist control, grab the whizzer, circle out. And he's too strong, he's too big. Bilal is 3 inches smaller. Leon's going to have a reach advantage. I think it's just going to be an easy fight for Edwards in comparison to the Usman-Colby fights. It's going to be a cakewalk. I think that Edwards is just too good everywhere. So it's going to be an easy fight. He's going to go for a finish. It's going to be a fun fight for sure. And I do believe that Bilal's going to put the pressure on him. And he's going to really go for this, unlike how Colby did. He knows that this is his last opportunity. He knows that he's doing this for Palestine. He's really going to put it all on the line. I don't believe that Bilal knows he's never going to get a title shot again based on his fighting style, based on how many wins he had to get to even get to this point, based on the fact that he's not a fan-friendly persona. He's not like a Merab where he's accumulating fans from his Instagram, from his personality. Merab doesn't have the fighting style, but he has the personality, right? So I think Bilal knows that, and I think he's really going to put it on Leon and really try his best. So super excited for this fight. I don't really know how it's going to play out, but I think Leon's going to easily win this one. Master, genius of distance. I think that's his best attribute, is being able to understand distance, when to come in and out. I would like, if I am to be critical of Leon a little bit, I would like for him to throw more combos whenever he does come in, because I think he has the ability to understand whenever he should throw the right straight, the teep kick. And another really tricky thing about him is he'll throw a low kick from orthodox, but it'll totally be the same from a head kick versus a leg kick versus a body kick. All the kicks look the same, so you don't really know what's coming. So, and that's kind of what put Bilal on the fence and on skates whenever Leon, he was kicking the leg, then he was kick the body, and then Bilal started putting his hands down, and then obviously he went up top, but it looks so deceivingly the same. And yeah, I'm really excited for that, but I hope that he gets Bilal backing up a lot like how he did in the last fight, and then just throw more combos, more punches and bunches, because rewatching the Colby fight, he would just dart in and just throw one punch and just throw things, not even to land, but to just have Colby guessing and just fainting. But I would really like to see him do that, but at the same time, whenever he goes in, throw those combos, throw 1-2s, throw 3 punches, a kick. You know, I really would like to see that more often. And then another thing is Leon's dangerous in the clinch. If Bilal wants to have some success, he has to mix that up too. He has to go into the clinch, do some dirty boxing, shoot for takedowns, throw some kicks. He has great kicks, Bilal does. But Leon loves the clinch as well. I mean, his elbows out of the clinch, like against RDA and Gunnar Nelson, he would get in the clinch, and then on the way out, he would throw a nasty elbow and cut the eyebrows of these guys. So I can see that happening as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a super super fun fight, but I think I got Edwards for this one. I think he'll probably get it by knockout in the third round, actually. So I got Edwards third round. We'll see. But yeah, that's my picks. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I got anything wrong. If you think that my picks aren't that great, you think that I could have did something better, let me know. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Super excited. Signing off. Have a good one.